Welcome to Southaven Business Beat. This is our special election edition. We talk to the candidates about the issues important to you and your business. We would like to thank the following sponsor, Wisdom Integrators. Are you a business owner and is technology getting in the way of your business? If your computers are slow, your website is horrible, or your business needs more efficiency, then it's time to reach out to Aaron Kozort and Wisdom Integrators. And now, here's your host, Robbie Yates.
How you doing? Welcome back again. My name is Robbie Yates, and we're with Southaven Business Beats. And today we have an exceptional guest. I'm really looking forward to diving in and getting to learn more about the incumbent senator for District 1 here in Mississippi, Michael McLendon. And I hope I said that last name right. I know we got a couple
you did
variations there.
A lot closer than a lot of people.
Excellent. Well, appreciate that, and thank you for your time, and welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us. It's an honor to be here. To, one of the best chambers in the state of Mississippi and the Mid-South, and I don't say that tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah, we did not pay you for that.
No, because I'm a living, breathing soul that's there at those chamber meetings. So Debbie does a wonderful job with her staff. She's picked right up from who was there before and before that, and the chamber is outstanding. You did an outstanding job, and we appreciate it. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, thank you for that. I know Debbie appreciates you saying that. And so I know you said prior to when we kicked off here, you said that you've been senator for 4 years, but I feel like with politics, things kind of change, and there's always something new on the horizon. What's one of the pressing issues, probably the most pressing, that you feel like the office that you're actually seeking, you want to tackle going forward?
Well, we're going to jump right into
the
deep water, huh?
We are.
Well, we've got a lot of pressing issues. If you look at the state as a whole, if you look at North Mississippi as a region, or if you look at DeSoto County, this little suburb of Memphis that everybody else in Mississippi wants to call us, or if you look at each municipality or the county, you can break it up. We have infrastructure issues that are looming. And when I say looming, there is a date on some of those. There's also a date on others that we don't know, but there is definitely a date on some of these bridges we have. But the most pressing, I would say, is the sewer issue that we have with Memphis. That there is a set date that is going to be cut off. And it has got to be, whether there is a sewer system in place or we have allotted Johnny on the jobs that we're ready to issue to each residence and each business. I would say that is probably the most pressing issue that we have. There's a big push for I-55 widening, and yes, it's needed. Now, what date is, the date that we're gridlocked? That is a date in the future.
Okay.
But we do have a set date on this sewer, and it is millions. It's hundreds of millions. And, that's one of the, we were looking for money for the interstate this past session. We got some, and we got money for other projects, not just the interstate, numerous projects. But Lieutenant Governor, the governor, and both chambers see the sewer system as a greater, because it has a set date. But the widening is definitely an issue from Goodman Road all the way to Tate County line. I see it every day.
Yeah, that's a lot, man, that you're having to deal with and juggle. So how would you see of everything that you're looking into, like the primary role for, obviously you've been in for the 4 years, but, moving forward, would you say your primary role?
As a state senator?
Yes, sir.
Well, the primary role, we're a legislative body, and we are there to make laws, help steer money for the budget, and projects that need to be. That role is very important to us because we have 8% of the state's tax revenue that comes from us. So as we had 3 senators, now we have 4 since the census, our population grew. And its own population, we're supposed to have an average of 54,000. So we now have 4 senators in DeSoto County. There's 52. So we have 4 of the 52. We've got a great portion of those. Now, it's up to us to work together as well as work with the House to go as one team. You know, we all live in different little areas. Southaven Chamber is, forefront on our minds, as well as Olive Branch Chamber, as well as Horn Lake Chamber, as well as Hernando. And each one of those cities have, different needs. But as a business community, they're all pretty much the same needs. Make business easier to do business.
Sure.
How do we help those businesses to grow our economy? And that's the, all that said in a nutshell, we still need to continue teacher pay raises.
Absolutely.
We've got the #1 school district. How do we keep that? We had an elementary school in Horn Lake that had a D rating. They just became an A rating. So what helped that? How was that school? Just by helping education, by helping with our infrastructure, and helping get future business here. And that's what we need to be doing.
Absolutely. There's a lot of moving parts and a lot of things that you have your hands in, which I respect and admire, and I'm sure a lot of people do. Looking at it, somebody might not want to do that in that position, but I know you said you've done 4 years. What was the decision to say, hey, you know what, I want to continue this path, continue to be, representing the state of Mississippi as a senator? What was the deciding factor for you?
Well, if I can go back
Sure.
in time, I'm not a lawyer. I'm in the insurance business. I've been in the insurance business for going on 30 years now. 19 as a Farm Bureau agent, and going into my 11th year commercial with Lipscomb and Pitts Insurance. Worked for Matt Lipscomb and Johnny Pitts in Memphis. We were just bought by Higginbotham out of Fort Worth, Texas. So we're the 12th largest. I'm not a lawyer. I know small business. My mother had MITA maps, which people are going to say, what's that?
Yeah.
Your Google. But used to, the only way to get around and know where these new subdivisions were a map book. And she did those. Small business. And so we would do that on our dining room table.
Yep.
She would go to Sluggo Davis's office, and we'd put the maps together, and it grew and grew and grew, and it finally got to where it was a Sears catalog.
Yeah.
But I was cutting my grass one day in Hernando, Mississippi, 2245 Memphis Street, and a red rezoning sign was being tapped across the street. I wasn't in politics. Government, I voted each time. Tried to keep up with local politics. Went to chambers, but anyway, the more I looked into it, Hernando prides itself on these older homes. If it was rezoned to what it could have been, what they wanted, they could have torn the house down. And it was an old house built in 1932. So I was just, self-preservation.
Sure.
I ran for alderman and won by 20 votes. And then, so I served 4 years, ran again, 4 more years. And I just tried to make the place better in Hernando. As the Senate came up, I just thought, hey, Hernando's getting left out a little bit. Let me see if I could do something. So I ran. Ended up we won.
Yeah.
It was a blessing.
Absolutely.
One of the biggest honors of our lives. I say our because it's a family.
Yep.
And if anybody out there, please always feel free to run, and I encourage it. But in today's world, it's you, your family. You get the good, the bad, and the ugly. So, but that is, I got into that. All that being said, cutting my grass, a red rezoning sign. Now I'm an incumbent senator running 4 more years, unopposed.
Yeah.
And that I thank the people for. Thanks for having trust in me. First of all, we had a redistricting. Our districts changed, so I was predominantly all of Hernando, touch of Horn Lake, and a touch of Southaven, but
Yeah.
the biggest part of the county.
Yeah, sure.
And when the redistricting came, it was drawn to where I got a pretty good portion of Southaven,
Yeah.
which is a blessing. I've got Silo Square, and it comes kind of angles back towards the Landers Center, and then goes back south. And I still have the Hernando community. I got a little more of Horn Lake, the southern part, and a little less of the county.
Yeah.
But
Well, you kind of tied into it a little bit with, the next thing I was curious about is like the next, like what position you'd be the best person to represent small business owners, but you kind of alluded to it for your background in small business, what all you've done starting out as an alderman and working your way up. And it sounds like you're really for the community and for small businesses, and really ultimately which leads to springboard to the state, which you can do for the state. So
absolutely.
yeah.
Look, and all the decisions I make, and everyone out there with a small business is, what brought you here? What brought me and my wife here in 1989? We were married May the 20th of 89. We bought a small little house off the square in Hernando, April of 89. Well, Hernando was so small then, we wouldn't move in it, well, for 2 reasons. One, we weren't married yet. And the number one, the other issue was, seemed like everybody knew that we were this couple that were moving from Memphis, that were buying this house, but we only knew about 4 people.
Yeah.
So we occupied that house on our wedding night. It was our first time. We stayed there, and it's we have been there now, what, 34 years, and we've got a really good feel for the county. We've seen the growth, but why do people move here? It's a great place to live. It's safe, and the schools.
Yep.
Number one reason. And at that time, we didn't have kids. It felt like going back to her grandparents lived in Ripley, Tennessee, off the square. Mine lived in Mendenhall, Mississippi, and it was just like going back, riding your bike around, and at that time, Southaven started in what, 1970, and it was a small little dot blip on the map as far as Mississippi was concerned, and now it's the second, third largest city, and it's amazing. But yeah, we have seen the growth, seen the good, the bad, and the ugly, and each city has got we did this, we're doing great with this. Might should have changed something here, back in the past, but people are moving here, and I take that, those 3 things. Why do they come? It's safe, it still has that small town vibe, and it's growing, and our schools, and we have to protect that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's incredible, that story in the background of it.
We're taking a second to thank our sponsors. Pure Focus Media. Have an event coming up? Let us capture all the moments that will create memories that will last a lifetime with our professional photographer and videographer. Also announcing our new digital selfie photo booth. Book with us today. Be sure to share and subscribe for more business resources. Now back to Southaven Business Beat.
What are, if you could think of, maybe it's not 3, maybe it's 1, but 3 things that you're actually seeking to address and really kind of tackle while within your district? Any issues, like 3 things you're seeking out to tackle? Maybe you're currently doing it now.
Well, we are. like we said in the start, the sewer issue is probably our number one looming thing. We've got to tackle that, and whether Southaven and Horn Lake, however they decide, they need to come up with a plan quickly, as well as the Board of Supervisors on the DECRUA, DeSoto County Regional Utility Authority. Now, when that happens, unfortunately for Hernando and Olive Branch, they're going to also get hit with it. So how we divide those up, what portions that it will go to the others, as well as will it be bond, will it be federal money, will it be state money, will it just be local money? I don't think the local authorities can do it on their own. We have put $10 million from the state. It was one of the largest projects that was done in the state 2 years ago. And $10 million is a drop in the bucket when you talk about $350 million.
Yeah, for real.
But those, tackling those, we did a teacher pay raise, which was the largest ever. We're going to continue to help with that because our children are our future. We've got the number one school district in the state of Mississippi. We have the largest school district in the state of Mississippi. We have 4,800 employees in DeSoto County School District, the number one employer in the county. And there's talk of school choice and that kind of thing. We pay an extra portion of ad valorem to our schools. We did that. We voted on that years ago. And we did that for a reason. We saw the growth that was coming. Superintendent Kirkendall at the time went down, lobbied the legislators for that. And that is one of the reasons. 43 schools, 43, and growing. They're building 2 more right now. So, we have to keep the schools because that is one of our driving factors of our economy. One school district, one county, 36,000 kids. So those 2 things, as well as, okay, so what are we doing for our local citizens? Well, we've lowered the income tax, personal income tax, and we will continue to lower that till it's gone. That is one of my goals. I've heard others talk about get rid of the grocery tax, get rid of the fuel tax. That's all fine and dandy, and I'm all for it. But there are ramifications when you do that. Because the cities, Southaven in particular, and I'm not sure what the numbers are, but they get a portion of that grocery tax. So how are we going to make them whole if we take away that? If we don't do anything, you take that money from them, then they have no choice but to possibly raise the ad valorem or cut back on employees. And that's another thing we've done as state government. We have lowered the number of employees in your state government. Lieutenant Governor Delbert Hoseman, in politics you get called a lot of things, and people have a perception, and they may hear something on a commercial that, and a lot of those things aren't true. That you see or hear about it, whether it be one individual or all the individual politicians. But done a wonderful job on cutting debt. We paid $50 million of a debt.
Wow, it's incredible.
People don't know that. We've lowered taxes. We have helped with our education program. We've almost fully funded MAEP. We gave teachers raises. So there's a lot of things. We've also helped firefighters and policemen with raises, with supplements to their, and we need more of those folks.
Absolutely,
During COVID, we have ambulance drivers that had patients in them go to Baptist Hospital. Well, there weren't enough nurses or beds. So those people would be in those ambulances anywhere from 6 to 8 to 10 hours in an ambulance because there wasn't a place to drop them.
Man, it's uncomfortable.
And it takes that ambulance out of service for the next person. which, it's a domino effect when there's a wreck on the interstate.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have our ambulances, our firefighters, our policemen are on that interstate because it's too many cars for not enough.
Yeah.
And there we go. You're not going to have an ambulance that are going to be able to go to your mother, your father, your child, whoever, your employee, because they're on a wreck because somebody hit somebody in New York going to Florida. But those are things that we have. We're doing a great job. And I just want to continue the role that we're on.
Yeah.
And
that kind of ties into what I was thinking for the next, my next question. You're talking about continuing, and you've touched on a few things, which I thought was really impressive, what you've done for the schools and the teachers and then the taxes and cutting debt as well. But what's one thing, and that's a lot to hang your hat on, and respectfully so, but what is one thing that you want to continue to do or improve upon in your district that's already doing well?
Well, when you say district, we as senators or representatives, well, you should, at least this senator does,
Sure.
votes how his district wants. Now, my district that I represent was a big different district then. So a lot of the stuff that I would vote would be for county residents or for Hernando. Each place looks at things a little different than each other municipality or whatnot. I was the author of the CRT bill. Now, that was taboo. You're not supposed to say, a lot of things, but the critical race theory bill, all it said was no child will be told that they're superior or inferior to another based on their religion, where they're from, whether they're male or female, not what they identify by.
Sure.
And it was basically the 1964 Civil Rights Act. That was it. And for us to have to do that, I thought, really? But it was, it was something that needed to be done.
Yeah.
We've cut out a lot of the woke agendas where boys will be playing boys, girls will be playing girls in high school or junior high or elementary. We're not going to give hormone-enhancing drugs to children. Once they get 18 years old, they have a right to make decisions on and their parents, whatever they choose. But until they get there, we're not going to allow that in the state of Mississippi.
Yeah.
Our right to life will continue. Attorney General Fitch did an outstanding job with Mississippi and Dodds. But as a district as a whole, I will continue to fight. It's relationships.
Sure.
We as a group of representatives and senators need to go as one team.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Some of us may have a jersey on Friday night, but when we go down there January, February, March, April, and it's not just January, February, March, April, it's every month. We need to go down there as a DeSoto County team.
Yeah.
And the coast does a great job with that. I spend some time on the coast, and I see, and the reason for that is I want to see what they do. And they go to functions as a team.
Yeah.
It's not individuals. And we've got a great team that's going down. We've took some licks in the past over a group maybe not working so much as a team. And you can have, different ways, different game plans as a team. But we've got a good group, and that's what I'm going to stress with these guys is we go down there as a team, definitely infrastructure. We got to keep education. We got to be safe. I live between two of the FBI's top 5 most dangerous cities, according to population: Memphis, Tennessee, and Jackson, Mississippi. So safety is one. Why do people, and I go back to why do people move to Southaven or DeSoto County? Number one, it's safe.
Yep.
And it's a great place to live and raise your family. The schools by far are number one, and number one in the Southeast compared to a lot. And also, it's a great place to do business. Business are thriving. The economy's tough right now, and if there's any way that we as a state legislative body can help with that, we need to do that. But we just need to continue moving forward. And believe me, this is one senator that they all know what my goal is down in Jackson, and every day I'm DeSoto County, DeSoto County, DeSoto County, and it's a real honor to represent Southaven and DeSoto County, as well as Hernando, Olive Branch, and Horn Lake, and the rest of the county. But
excellent. I know you've got a lot on your plate. You've got a lot to tackle, and I respect everything you've done leading forward and the work you have to go. So, Senator District 1, Michael McLennan, I appreciate everything you've done. Thank you for your to continued support for the community, small businesses, the state. I respect and admire so much. So thank you so much for your time, for being on the show.
Well, thank you, and I want to thank y'all as well for what you do. Y'all have guest speakers that come in that are phenomenal to help with the chamber and to provide education for your members. I did 17 shows at DeSoto Family Theater on stage, and the chamber was a big part of that. They're always willing to let DFT come in and show what their showcase is. And it's unbelievable talent there. The businesses that Southaven has brought in is mind-blowing, and what's on the horizon. So kudos to y'all, and thank you for what you do.
Yeah, thanks.
You're welcome. Appreciate having you.
We would like to thank the following sponsor, Follow App. The Follow App is the long-term solution for networking, instantly connecting you to those frequently missed opportunities to find the right referral partner or new client to grow your business. Thank you for listening to this episode of Southaven Business Beat. This podcast is brought to you by the Southaven Chamber of Commerce. We know relationships create commerce. Thank you for joining us. Like what you see and hear? Please tell others and subscribe.